If you are someone who takes pride in the appearance of your home, then you will also take pride, I think, in the appearance of your community, what's going on in your community, whether other homes are tended to, whether neighbors are respectful of each other. You will be a respectful neighbor because it's not just a matter of your house proper, it will be how it fits into the larger community. If you are someone who's bought a home and you care for it, you keep your yard clean, you clean up any graffiti that happens to somebody tagging your garage or your fence or something like that, your property values, if it were based just on that, are going to be stable because you're watching out for you. If you have a neighbor next door, the next block over, rental properties, Section 8s, and Section 8 need not be a bad term, but when they're not handled appropriately, when they're not kept up to code, when they're not cleaned and maintained and supervised, you're asking for trouble. Now, anything that property is doing in the neighborhood in which you've invested compromises your investment. Now, you can be ugly and get in a shouting match with the renters or the property owner. Better, if possible, and I'm not saying it's always possible, to educate the property owner about how we're all in this together and encourage them to do what's appropriate. Or neighbors and I, when we go out for walks, will take extra bags with us and pick up bottles or trash. And on the one hand, you can say, "Ugh, I'm not going to be responsible for what other people left." Well, you can take that attitude if you want to, but the trash is going to accumulate and it's going to compromise your investment.
Do you have any idea how we locate those neighborhood associations so that we can come and educate people in those communities?
Maybe in the city of Chicago, an aldermanic function. Maybe the alderman could have incentives, education, meetings. You would be amazed what a couple of cheap pizzas and some pop will do to get people to a meeting. And you can begin to discuss and educate. And for example, you know, the idea about taking a bag with you when you take a walk. Instead of seeing the picking up the trash as demeaning, as being something empowering where you're taking ownership of your community. And if we all agree that we're all in this together, it's better for everyone. Everybody wins in that scenario. But somebody has to take a leadership role or it doesn't happen. And in the city of Chicago, a logical place to start would be City Hall or aldermanic offices, I think. Certain neighborhoods have more affluence, certain neighborhoods have, and yes, when you have more disposable income, you're able to, you know, there's certain nice things your property's going to have that maybe if you're a lower income person, you just don't have that disposable income. My home has a mission statement. What it is intended for, right? If you don't know what it's for, then when something comes along, you don't know if it's in keeping with your values or your mission statement for the home. Right? I feel blessed to own a home. It is an honor, it's a privilege, a responsibility. So I want my home to be clean. I want my home to be well maintained. I want my home to be a safe place, a loving place, a welcoming place. If you don't know that, if you don't know who you are, then how do you know whether something's in keeping with that? I think if people knew how easy it would be to, in baby steps, take pride in ownership, and when I say ownership, I mean even for tenants of a building, take ownership of where they live. Don't litter it. If you drop something, pick it up. Clean up after your animals. Teach your children to be responsible citizens. We all have a role in the communities we form. In my particular neighborhood, we are making a conscious decision to maintain our properties. We are making a conscious decision to be aware of what properties come up for sale and inform each other to attract responsible owners. because like-minded individuals tend to attract like-minded individuals. A responsible, educated person tends to associate with responsible, educated people. Right? It's just the way things are. And that has nothing to do with class or income. Or there are certain things we can all do regardless of our income levels, our education levels. If you're educated about a property, you don't necessarily have to have a college degree to know, you know, that you've got to keep the water out, that you've got to keep the wind out, that you've got to maintain your roof, that you have to address problems when they're small, ergo less expensive, then let them go until they become more expensive. And in the city of Chicago, there are programs available for lower income people to help them maintain their homes, and there are programs available to help them pay their utilities. There are assets available to them that, again, if they're educated about, they can avail themselves of.